Hi, this is Tranisha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about In Me. So, what made me want to talk about In Me is earlier today, I was, doing my normal thing where I'm just listening to different sermons, or I listen to inspirational, motivational stuff, or I listen to things that will educate me in a way that I haven't been educated before, or it might reiterate some things that I've previously learned but may have forgot about, and I may just need another reminder of. And so earlier today, after I was listening to, I think it was like a couple or something. And I know you're probably saying like, why are you so focused on this couple thing? But it's not just about the couple thing. The girl who I have started following, and not like following like I'm following Jesus, but like in the social media sense, is someone who is Christian based as well. And but she talks more about her marriage, and she also talks about some of the things that she wished that she had done before then. And and as I was watching that video, they were just talking about their relationship and how they met and different things like that, which I think is pretty cool. But that has nothing to do with In Me. So after I so after I watched the video, I had to pause real quick. I had like a something that was happening. Okay, so so after I watched the video, it actually has nothing to pertain to the video, but it really, when they were talking about the things that they did in their single season or things that she wished that she would have done before she got married, it really made me think about a lot of the self-reflection that I'm doing now, and how I really since I've been in my waiting stage, and since I've been doing like I did my 21 day, fast and all that other stuff. I fasted something that I felt like was important to me, but it really wasn't that important. I could still survive without it. And so that was good. And I also fasted off of something else. I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. I mean, unintentionally, I did see something, but it wasn't intentionally. And so and I had no control over that. So I tried to stay focused so that I wasn't just interfering with what God was doing in my life. And who knows, God could have been saying, if you're following me, I'm going to allow this to be in your life. And I could have just completely missed it. But but hopefully, no matter what I do, if it's God's will, it will be. And so as I was sitting there listening to her talk about how she wishes that she did premarital counseling and all that other stuff, it just really made me start self-reflecting. Like when people are talking about different stuff, I start to think of it in a different way. Like I hear what she's saying about premarital counseling, especially when you are just a couple before you get married, even if you're not engaged yet, but things are starting to get serious. I really can see how that could be beneficial, because you want to make sure that you guys are equally yoked, that your vision for life is aligned, that your purpose and their purpose coincides, that you guys can actually work together to make the world better, so that you could be benefiting the kingdom in your marriage and not just benefiting yourself. And for me, honestly, the lately, after the fast, after really doing some self-reflection, I've been thinking about how selfish I have been at times. And it's not that I'm not a loving, kind person. It's not that I don't treat everyone with love and kindness. It's just that there are times in my life where I want something and I don't think if it's beneficial or not for the other person. Like I I get completely selfish about it. And I'm not afraid to say that, because I feel like I'm not the only person. And me being transparent, I think, will allow someone else who's not perfect, because none of us are, to say that, oh yeah, I could totally do being a Christian. I could actually see myself giving my life to God, because she's not perfect. And so if she's not perfect and God is using her, then God can use me as well. And so I really I really just started thinking about how selfish I was in some of my areas of my life, and how selfish I have been in the past, and how even when I knew that a lot of relationships weren't going to work, I stayed in it because I selfishly wanted to be with that person because of how they looked. I selfishly wanted to be with that person for other reasons, but I did not want to be with them because I truly loved them. Even though, I didn't really know what love was until I really rededicated my life to God. Like back then, I probably thought I was in love, but a lot of things can reflect love when you don't know what love is. A lot of things can seem as if they are love if you don't have a true definition of what God's love feels like. And so for me, I was thinking that all of these things were actually love, but they weren't. It was just uh, instant gratification. It was a temporary fix. It was temporary satisfaction. It was not something that could be sustained. It wasn't anything that could withstand time because it was never intended to. Even when I knew that we weren't good for each other, even when I knew that I wasn't going to be at my best with this person, even when I knew that this person meant me no good, I still felt like selfishly I just want to stay in this because I get to have this, and this, or because regardless, because I know that this person knows that I can do better, then I'll stay with this person because at least they will think that there's no reason for them to leave me because I know it sounds so selfish, but honestly, there's probably so many of us that think like this. And it's that codependency, it's that unhealthiness that a lot of us really have to work out of ourselves because we can't be that person in the next relationship. We can't be that person in the next friendship. We really do have to grow and learn and become a better person because if I continue to be selfish, if I continue to be codependent in every relationship will end exactly the same way. Even if the person doesn't leave, I will get to the point where I will have to leave because I won't be getting anything that is actually beneficial. I'll selfishly be gaining things, but nothing that is abundant, nothing that is godlike, nothing that will bring me joy or peace. It would only bring me it would only bring me discontent. And that's not what I want for my life. That's not what I want for any person in the future that is with me. I want them to feel peace and joy and happiness. And yes, we're not going to agree. Yes, we're going to be two totally different human beings with different opinions. And we might have things that we like that are the same, but that doesn't mean that we're just going to be perfect because we have similarities. I mean, at our core value, do we really truly believe the same thing? Are we both like intentional with our relationship with God? Are we really walking by what it is that God wants us to do in our life? Are we really serving in a way that is pleasing to God? Are we really being intentional about our lives, regardless if they're a billionaire or they're growing to become something better? Like, are they really being intentional with the things that they're doing in their life? Could we really be a partner to each other? Like, could we really be something like could I have benefits that the other person might need that and I they have benefits that they're strong in that we could both use to make each other stronger even though we're strong individually. Like is that something that we could actually do? And it's it's so funny because if you had asked me like 3 years ago I would have said, "Oh, whatever." Like I would have just I was totally different. I was the same person. I was always willing to learn, but I wasn't always willing to grow. And I think it's a huge difference between learning and using that and applying it to your life and growing into the person that God is intending for you to become by using that education for his benefit. And so for me, it's just sometimes it's nothing but God. Like me talking right now, it sounds profound, but it's really God because I don't sound this smart. No, like I'm educated and things like that, but really it's all God. Like the book is all God. Like yes, there are some really really cool things in there that were said that I used from my past experience that God allowed me to go through. God literally poured these words into my soul and said to use my testimony to help someone else. And I did. I left it all in the book. And it wasn't easy. There were moments where I was like, no one's going to accept me now because they know some of my flaws. There was moments where I was like, people are going to totally judge me now because they're going to say, well, she's not perfect, but nobody is. And in the beginning, when I first was healing and I got to a point where I felt like I was the most healed, I was thinking, now I'm going to have standards and there's no person that will ever be able to be with me unless they adhere to my standards. I really thought that I would just be perfect now. Like all of a sudden everything would be fixed because I've been working on everything. All of a sudden I would just say all the right things, do all the right things. I would just be this perfect person and never make a mistake. And that's so unrealistic. That's not something that any person could sustain at all. And I don't advise any person that is healing to feel as if the healing is ever over. Like, know that you're at a place of contentment, or not at a place of contentment, like in your mind where you don't feel like you are constantly reminded of that person. In your mind where you feel like you don't want to be with that person. In your mind where you feel like, okay, I've given myself enough time to heal. Actually take your time. Don't rush it because someone got over it in a day or a month. Don't rush it because someone took a year and you need 3 years. Take as much time as you want to. The person who you feel like you're going to miss out on is still going to be there if God is in it. If that's what God intends for you, that person will still be available to you after the next relationship fails. And then in 3 years, when you both are ready, when the time presents itself, you will be together. So it's not that you have to worry about losing out on something that God intended for you, because you will never have to worry when God's in your life, because everything that He wants for you, you will have. And so I know you're probably thinking all of this is good, but why are you saying is in me? Because I was saying in me as the title because sometimes it's easy for us to focus on what everyone else has or what everyone else is doing or what else we could get from other things instead of what God has in Him to do in our lives. Like, we keep feeling like if we do this, we will have all of these things instead of seeking God first. We always forget that if we seek God first, everything else will be given to us. On this past week, God told me to go somewhere, and I really wasn't going to go because I didn't want to be that type of person who just seemed like I was there for whatever reason. And I also wanted to make sure that my intentions were good. I didn't want to just be at this place just to be there, just to be, for any ill will or anything like that. I wanted to make sure that my heart was pure, that my soul was good, that my head was in the right space, and I was really leading with the right intention. And of course, you're probably thinking, well, God told you to be there, so you needed to be there. Yes. And I also had to check myself and make sure that I was going to be good, that I was going to be like, that I was seeking God first over everything else. And my conscience was clear. And when God said go, I didn't argue with them or anything. I did feel like a little twinge of like, I just want to make sure that I'm doing this for the right reasons. And God was like, go, like go, go already. It's like that scene from what is it? It Takes Two or something with Mary-Kate and Ashley, and then they're like, kiss her already or whatever. It's like that, but it was like go. This is how I envision stuff in my mind. That's probably why I'm smiling all the time, because I really have like these little like cute little things that happen, and I'm just like, oh, I'm like, and everybody else is like, it's really not that funny. And I'm like, if only you knew. Like, I literally have like this joy unspeakable. I don't know. I guess that's the only way I can really describe it. It's like, even when I can't see how, I know God's gonna work it out. And even when I feel like I just can't see what the end is gonna be, I'm just like, okay, like for example, let's say it's like 2 days until the bills due, and the money's not there. Most people would be like, oh my God, I gotta do all of these things. I have to be able to get this done. I gotta do this. And meanwhile, I'm like, I'm doing everything God told me to do. I'm being a good steward. I'm budgeting. I am making sure that I'm intentional with my funds. I'm intentional with my life. And it's not that the money's not there because the money's not there. The money is on the way. But it's so funny because I feel like God let me be in this weird, uncomfortable financial situation because I've been so, finances have been just like this since I've been single. And it's because it's all God. It's not because I'm just like this mastermind and money and whatever else. Like, yes, I do try to be a good steward, and I haven't been doing the best job in the past, like year, just to be honest. And so, and I only say that because I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be perfect. And I'm trying to be a better steward of my money because I want to make sure that I am allowing God to be able to give me more. And not that I want more money, but I also know that me being a steward of little things will allow Him to give me more things. And it doesn't just have to be money, it could be more people that I work with, more whatever else, more avenues, more events, more whatever else. And in order for Him to trust me with that, I have to make sure I'm a good steward of everything. I have to make sure that my body is a temple. I got to make sure that I am really leading in the way that God intended me to. And it's so weird because I'm thinking like years ago when I dated, I'm thinking I got to be this type of person because this is the only type of person that guys would want. And I know who I am. I know who I want to be. But yet I'm thinking, who's going to be like, oh yeah, she's like this goody two shoes. Like no one, like I'm just thinking like people are just going to be like, she's just way too uptight. And some people have said that because I'm real and it's fine. And I'm not uptight in the way of like, I can't take a joke. I can take a joke. I can't take an insult, but I can take a joke. And I say that because with intentionality, because some people feel like if you say something and it's true and it's hurtful, it could be funny. And I'm not talking about comedians. I'm talking about in general, like your partner or something like that. And that is not funny. That is emotional, you know what? And I say that, and you could say, well, me and my partner, laugh at stuff like that all the time. That's fine. It's great. Now, if we're laughing at something that we both find funny and it's not at my expense, okay, that was funny. But don't insult me just to make yourself feel better because you're insecure. Like, I don't want any of that. And so it's just, I don't know how I got there, but But really, I completely lost my train of thought because I was like, why in the world? But I felt like it was really important to say that because some people started off by doing that to their kids and they'll say something like, yeah, with your big head. And then they're seeking approval, like your child, your son is seeking approval from all these women because you put them down already. And even though you think it's a joke and it's funny to you, it's not at your expense, it's at your child's expense. And so what could be funny to you could be hurtful to somebody else. So think about what you're saying and really like, do you want your son to be a good leader who's following God, or do you just want him to be a knucklehead out here in these streets? Like, really think about how you're trying to raise him because real real healthy children are the ones that their parents are speaking life to, that are really teaching them real stuff because they want them to prosper in life. They're not trying to be the first person that's putting them down when the whole world is going to try to stop them anyways. Like, I don't want to be that type of parent. I want to be the parent who speaks life into my child. I want to make sure that she knows that she is the most beautiful, smart, intelligent, can do anything, like especially with God. Like, as long as she follows God, He got everything else. It doesn't matter how it's going to happen, He's going to work it out. And also, your validation is going to come from you first. It's going to come from God because He's already created you worthy. And then you are going to speak life into yourself every day. And then when people out in this world try to tell you who they want you to be because they're insecure, you will already know who you are. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I don't think any person I know I'm like getting all like into it. I'm gonna try to calm down. But seriously, like we really got to do better with these kids, with each other. We really have to stop trying to tear each other down and say, well, they need to be doing this. Like, you don't know how that person feels about that situation. You don't know what they're going through. They could be dealing with their own trauma. It could be traumatic for them to have to do certain things. Maybe they are already trying in their own way. Like, you really have to think about how people are feeling and not just what's beneficial to you in a selfish way. And for me, that's where I'm trying to really check myself nowadays because I don't want to just because I see somebody who seems like they would be beneficial to me, I really have to think about how I can benefit them. And I don't mean in a what do you bring to the table kind of way. I say that because it's like out there and on social media they're making a whole thing of it. But but I'm saying that because I really think it should be mutually beneficial and it should have mutual edification. You should both be For me, we should both be seeking God. We should both be seeking to do better. We should both be benefiting in one way or another. Like maybe I'm organizational and the other person is a hard worker. Maybe we're both hard workers. Maybe, and this could be any person. This person leads with purpose, is intentional. We're both intentional. This person is good at being spontaneous, or they're good at creating like certain types of ideas. I might be good at scheduling and other things, who knows. But whatever it is, our strengths are what makes us strong, but together we could be unstoppable. And I say unstoppable because when God's leading you, everything else moves out of your way. There's nothing that the enemy can put in your place, in your way, that will ever stop the path that God set forth for your life. Say that again. When God is leading you, there's nothing that the adversary can put in your way that will stop the path that God has set forth. And so, in conclusion, because I gotta go, I really do like it's somebody's birthday. I got things to do. I'm just sitting here like, got a message. God's like, just do it, just do this, do that, and I'm like, okay, yes sir, like yes Lord. I gotta make sure that I got my head on straight. I'm being intentional. I'm not being selfish. I want to lead with like the way that God intended me to, and regardless of how stuck up these men are gonna think I am, I need to be God like in every situation. And I can't just pretend like I'm okay with something that I'm not. I can't pretend to be okay with you calling me sexy. I'm not going to be okay with you using vulgar terms, saying really disrespectful stuff. I'm just not okay with it. I'm never going to be okay with it. I'm not okay with it at all. Like, I know it seems like my tone got a little lifted, but seriously, like, I don't want to be treated like that. I want to be treated like a woman of God. And I need to carry myself like a woman of God, however that means that I need to be in selflessness and kindness and love and a person who is really being compassionate and also has honor and respect for herself. And that's what I hope that everyone else will do. And in conclusion, when when you are seeking God first, when when you're thinking about everything else that the world has, or you're seeing like these people on social media, or you're seeing other people doing things, and you feel like you just want to take control of your life because you feel like you can do a better job than God. I know that's not what you're thinking, but that's exactly what it is that you're doing when you try to control something that God is supposed to be in control of. And I learned the hard way many times. So I'm not saying this from a place of like naivety. I'm saying it from a place of of knowledge, because I really have been well educated on doing things my way and it worked out horribly. Like it turned out so bad, it's ridiculous and it was disastrous. And so I know that God is God's way or no way. Like I really do only want what God wants for my life. I only want to do the things that He wants me to do. I only want to be the person that He wants me to be. And I need to be setting a good example, especially since I have a daughter. And so for me, my main focus is focusing on Him, because not because when I focus on Him, everything else will be given to me, but because when I focus on Him, there's nothing else that I will ever need. He will take care of everything. Like, I won't need anything, regardless of what it is that I might have thought I wanted. I'll have everything that I need. And that's all that matters to me.